Okay, so let's talk the 2001 Royal Rumble. I watched this last night for the first time in its entirety. Most of these reviews will be me watching these pay-per-views for the first time in their entirety. Shouts to Chevy for the lid, my guy. Okay, first we get the Dudleys versus Edge and Christian for the tag titles. So the Dudleys were concussed during this match. So it started off with Devon's concussed head being targeted. Somewhere down the line, I think Edge and Christian went to the outside, got a chair each, went to hit Devon with a concerto, but Devon ducked that, and that's kind of where business kind of picked up, so to say. What's up? Do you want to come over here? Come over here. Nah. Okay. Okay. So yeah, all I could really remember from the match was there was a cool reversal of the 3D where I think either Edge or Christian got picked up by Devon for like the flapjack into the 3D. I'm pretty sure it was Christian countered that and hit Devon with a DDT, and then Edge hit Bubba with a spear. But in the end, the Dudley Boys ended up taking the W by way of 3D. Then it cut backstage to Drew Carey. Now, I'm not going to pretend like I know who Drew Carey is or research who Drew Carey is and then come on here and pretend like I knew who he was all along. I don't know who Drew Carey is. It cut to Drew Carey's arrival backstage. It seemed to be somewhat of a big deal. I guess I will look him up after this video, or if I probably will forget, so you could let me know in the comments who Drew Carey is exactly. One thing I also did notice was behind Jim Ross and Jerry the King Lawler, there was that ECW fan. That was always, it was like usually in uniform, it was Hat Guy, the Sign Guy, and then the dude that like had the Ozzy Osbourne sunglasses. He looked like Cactus Jack with Ozzy Osbourne shades on, basically. That was pretty cool to see him just lingering in the background. Okay, next was probably, besides the Royal Rumble match of the night, it was Chris Jericho and Benoit in a ladder match for the IC title. There was a moment where there was a spot where Jericho was on the outside and Benoit runs to do a suicide dive through the middle rope, and Chris Jericho just wham in the face with a steel chair. Like, this was it looked like he got his hands up in time, but it just sounded absolutely brutal. But yeah, there was lots of cool spots. There was like a Russian leg sweep spot where Chris Jericho gave Benoit a Russian leg sweep intertwined in the ladder. And of course the patented seesaw ladder thing. The cherry on top would have been the walls of Jericho on top of the ladder, which was pretty insane. But yeah, Jericho ended up taking the W there to win the IC title. So, as I said, besides the Royal Rumble match itself, that was definitely match of the night. So next was Chyna and Ivory for the women's title. This was Chyna's return from a supposed neck injury she got from Val Venus pile driving her. And before the match, it cut to the promo package, and it was Chyna being interviewed in like the neck brace, and then it would cut to Ivory parodying the interview with Chyna in the neck brace with the neck brace. It was pretty funny. It was essentially a squash match, and then it ended with Chyna doing like a handspring, going for a handspring back elbow into the corner, and she just spontaneously collapsed. So the match ended there. Chyna got halted off on a stretcher and a leg brace. Next, there was a backstage segment with D'Lo Brown and two other guys donned in some like traditional Indian wear. I'm guessing it was like a short-term faction or something, but it was pretty funny to say the least. Okay, so next was Kurt Angle versus Triple H for the WWF title. Angle had Trish Stratus in his corner and Triple H had Stephanie. From the get-go, from the start of the match, Kurt Angle's straps did not go up, so he meant business. So Angle was basically out wrestling Triple H for the beginning of the match, and then eventually Triple H started to work on Angle's one of his legs, started to chop him down a bit. That went on for quite a while. I had the realization of when Triple H became the game, the presence that he had in ring and even outside of the ring was just insane. Like, Triple H was the game. It took me, I didn't actually get the phrase "I am the game" for an absurd amount of time. I think I only had the realization maybe 2 or 3 years ago. I was like, oh, he's like, pro wrestling is like the game, or like in hip hop, it's the game. He is the game. And that's the testament, you know what I mean? He was indeed the game at that time. So eventually Stephanie and Trish broke out into a cat fight. Vince had to intercept there. That went on for a little bit, and then Vince eventually got them both backstage. At one point, Kurt Angle did hit the patented picturesque, beautiful moonsault from the top, and then the referee got knocked out twice. Then Stone Cold came out and stunnered Triple H, allowing Kurt Angle to get the victory. So the finale was the Royal Rumble match. This was an insane Rumble. I have seen it before, the Royal Rumble match itself. I think it was Jeff entered in first, and then Paul Buchanan, and then Matt Hardy. Drew Carey makes his way to the Rumble then, and shortly afterwards Kane comes in. I think he went to chokeslam Drew Carey, and then Raven came in. Once Raven came in, it became utter chaos. There was trash cans. It just became a hardcore match. Al Snow came out, Honky Tonk Man came out. He ended up getting creamed over the head with his own guitar by Kane. The Rock came in at number 13. Taz came in, and it was kind of just crazy to think that they didn't do, I don't want to say much, they didn't do anything with Taz, really. Not that I can remember anyway. He had a fantastic debut. He was absolutely unbelievable in ECW. Like, he was a force to be reckoned with. And it was just kind of disappointed. He got eliminated straight away as well. I'm pretty sure nothing big ever happened with Taz, which is pretty unfortunate. So somewhere down the line, Test comes in and he eliminates William Regal, to where JR states, and I quote, "Regal can't believe he's been besmirched. He's been molested." So eventually The Rock eliminates the Big Show. Then the Big Show gets payback by chokeslamming The Rock through the announcer's table. Everyone was then trying to eliminate Kane. Then The Undertaker came out to save Kane. They clean house, have a bit of a stare down. We think that they're going to have it out, but they don't. They kind of just stay and wait for the next entrant to come in. So then Stone Cold's music hits, and before he can get in the ring, Triple H attacks him from behind, seeking revenge. He threw him into like this side barricade by the ramp, and I think that's what busted Stone Cold open. And then he kind of just travelled his way up the ramp then and continued to beat down on poor Steve. The Rock found his way back into the ring eventually. The referees pulled Triple H off of Stone Cold. Haku entered at number 29, and there was no pop. So Rikishi was the final entrant. Then eventually Stone Cold made his way into the ring with a freshly opened can of whoop-ass for all participants. So it came down to the final three. It was The Rock, Kane, and Stone Cold. And there's an iconic shot of this specific moment where The Rock is in one corner and Stone Cold's in the other, wearing the crimson mask, as JR would say. And he pulls himself up using the top rope, just props himself up, and then just has a stare down with The Rock. But in the DVD version, it was cut, and I was pretty disappointed to see that. So I was wondering, am I thinking of the same match? So at this point, Kane is over an hour in the ring. The Rock tries to eliminate Stone Cold, then Kane comes from behind The Rock and eliminates The Rock, so it's just Stone Cold and Kane. Eventually it leads to Stone Cold resorting to grabbing a steel chair, and oh my god, these chair shots were absolutely insane. He molded the chair around the skull of Kane multiple times till he backed him up against the ropes and then clotheslined Kane over the top rope. So Stone Cold was the victor of the Royal Rumble. So overall, it was a very dramatic Royal Rumble match. Like lots and lots and lots. Like so much happened in one match. Like it was crazy. It's definitely one of my favorite Rumbles of all time. A lot of people say it's their favorite Rumble. But personally mine is 95 or 96. So then the DVD cut to a home video wrap up with Jonathan Coachman backstage that had some post-match interviews. The rest of the extras, which I thought was pretty cool, were from the episode of Sunday Night Heat that aired before the Royal Rumble. So we had Lowdown versus Kai and Tai. Lowdown actually came out to the Iron Sheik's theme song. The winner of that match would head on to be part of the Rumble, but I think Drew Carey actually took the spot of, I think it was D'Lo that won it. And then pretty much to wrap up the extras, there was just the promo from Right to Censor from Sunday Night Heat and Edge and Christian. So, Royal Rumble 2001, what are we saying? I think it was a pretty sick pay-per-view. You see, match of the night for sure was the ladder match. Kurt Angle and Triple H it was good. It could have been better. The tag team title match and the women's match, they were okay. Like, there's not much to say about those. But solely for the Royal Rumble match, definitely. What an insane Royal Rumble match. So I was thinking in the last video, I actually, off the top of my head, I was like, oh, what will I give this out of 10? And then I marked Invasion out of 10. I'm in no way a critic. So, like, I don't know who I thought I was giving a pay-per-view score out of 10. But in my personal opinion, what would I give Royal Rumble 2001 out of 10? And is it worth owning on DVD? Firstly, of course, it's worth owning on DVD. Absolutely. What would I give the pay-per-view out of 10? It was a Royal Rumble. And let's take into consideration every Royal Rumble match ever. I'd give it a strong 8. Royal Rumble 2001 gets a strong 8. So like always, thank you for joining me. Thanks for listening to me ramble. It's been a pleasure. I'll catch you in the next one.